Hello everyone, welcome to the Crypto Insider channel. Only a few things to talk about today, but before we dive into it, go ahead and hit the like button and the subscribe button if you wish to receive future notifications when a video is posted. Um, we have, like I said, just a few things to talk about. One of the first ones is a tweet exchange that I was involved in yesterday. So let's go over to that. And what it was basically is an all the way '08 talking about uh, the price is so low that it's going to start hurting ODL in the sense that if they want to do a very large ODL, if they wanted to transfer $500 million across the ODL corridors right now at a 20% price, or at five for a dollar, that's 2.5 billion XRP that they would need to facilitate that. Um, so there's a little bit of discussion about that, but I just wanted to give a shout out to Moon Lambo, who went over the topic in a little more detail in a video, and you know caught out my reply and the original tweet. So good work, Moon Lambo. We all appreciate what you do and how well you do it. So thanks for aggregating all this news for us, and helping us out with that. The second thing I wanted to talk about is an article that came across 5 hours ago at Cointelegraph. 19-year-old suspect charged with 1 million crypto heist via SIM swaps. And I wanted to talk about this because we went over this the other day in a video where I was talking about AT&T is actually getting sued because they had a ring of crooked employees doing SIM swaps on customers and robbing them of crypto. Uh, a 19-year-old man has been indicted for identity theft as part of an alleged 1+ million cryptocurrency heist affecting at least 75 victims in the United States. A news release published on December 18th by Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus R. Vance alleged that Yusuf Salesi, 19, conducted a complex SIM swapping scheme targeting residents across 20 different states. SIM swapping, also known as a port-out scam, involves the theft of a victim's cell phone number in order to hijack their online financial and social media accounts by intercepting the automated messages or phone calls used for two-factor authentication security measures. Then it goes on to talk about the indictment. But this is what I'm saying. 2FA on its own is not necessarily going to save you or from hacking. It's like any other security measure that you take. A good determined thief or a hacker is going to try to find a way around it. In my opinion, the safest way you can hold crypto is on a cold wallet, on a hardware device like a ledger. There's a few other companies. I myself have had some issues with a Ledger Nano, and they had to fix it and send it back. Um, but a lot of people love them, and I like mine. Once I did get a good working one that would stay powered on, um, I was able to put some funds on it. Okay, so you generally have your choice between your cold wallets and your hot wallets. So with your hot wallets, it's a little bit easier if you lose a password. Generally, there's a password reset uh, uh, functionality you can go through and regain access to your crypto accounts. On the cold wallets, like the Ledger Nano, you have to maintain your seed words. On a Ledger, if you enter the wrong PIN 3 times, it will wipe the device, and you will have to get your seed words, re-input them into the device. There's usually, I think, 24, and that will rebuild your address. So A lot of people don't understand the cold storage, and they think that if they lose the device, or the device burns up in a fire, as an example, everybody's already always talking about that you lose your crypto. That's not the case, but you do need to keep track of your seed words. So if you're going to store a lot of crypto on a device, I would recommend um, storing a copy of your seed words, maybe in a safety deposit box at a bank. If it's a significant amount of value that you're protecting. Um, you could also store the words at a house that you trust, maybe your parents' house, or a relative, depending on how much you trust your family. Um, but they may not even know what the words are. If somebody just comes across 24 words written down in a stack of papers, chances are they're not going to know that they're seed words for a crypto device. You could write them into a story, making them, the third word of every sentence. You could do a lot to hide where these seed words are, or um, obfuscate what they are. So but don't store the device with the seed words, the only copy of the seed words, together in the same place, because yeah, if the tornado hits or the fire happens and you lose one or the other, you're going to end up in trouble. Um, but yeah, it's just interesting to see these two-factor authentication stories getting more prevalent. 9 count indictment. So, and as they say, it's an ongoing threat, and I'm seeing, like I said, more and more news stories about two-factor authentication, SIM swapping, and lawsuits related to it. The last is this story that keeps going around. They've reached out to old Tim Draper again so that he could reaffirm that Bitcoin could hit 250K in 2020. And with our Bitcoin dependence, XRP is a Bitcoin junkie. It's very much dependent on what Bitcoin does. If it hits 250K, that could be very good news for us. After the halvening, it could drag us up, because I think once people start making huge amounts of money in the Bitcoin market like that, they're going to look to the altcoins to diversify. They may even trigger an alt season. I mean, if you made 60 million in Bitcoin, would you put 1 million into Ethereum and XRP? Probably. Or you'd take it out and put it in fiat, which I'm sure you'll see some of that happening too. If we do get to a scenario where Bitcoin is to 250K. Price, I've been looking at some of the price. It looks like a day or two ago we were struggling with that 20 cent mark. Now we're down. We're struggling with a 19 cent resistance, just about in here at 19 cents. It looks like we keep testing it and falling, testing it and falling. So I hate to use the words, but we are in a buying opportunity. And while that's nice, I know everybody's getting tired of a buying opportunity, but I, nothing has really changed. The fundamentals are still there. So if you were a hodler before, be a hodler now. Just be a hodler with a little more XRP than you had, because you were able to scoop some up. My personal investing strategy, and again, I am not, well, a certified financial planner. I'm not a registered investment advisor. Do your own research, suffer your own consequences, or reap your own rewards. Um, and don't try to sue other people for your bad decisions. So, but with that caveat being said, the way that I buy any sort of crypto is that uh, and I'm not really huge on technical analysis just because I'm not a chart analyzer. I'll look at other people's chart analysis and see if I agree with it, see if I think it's pie in the sky. But when I decide to buy, I normally do a staggered series of buys. And it could be based off somebody's Fibonacci percentages, or it could just be a number that is acceptable to me because you never ever want to invest more than you're able to lose. Um, so in a hypothetical, let's say we had $100 right now. We wanted to invest in XRP. I'd probably put a buy order, a $20 buy order at 16 cents. Then I'd probably put a $30 order at 0.149 and a larger order of 50 at 0.135. So as the price drops, you're gaining more of the asset, and those aren't exact numbers based on analysis. This is just an example I'm pulling out of the air. Um, to show the way that I would invest. The problem with a strategy like that is it could limit you. You know, if it gets to 0.15, which is still a good opportunity, the only thing I've picked up is 20 at 0.16. So I mean, it's conservative in that view. But you know, if it drops further, then you know I've hit all my targets and bought and fulfilled all my orders. That's one way to do it, and selling is much the same way. You should also have targets for selling any crypto investment. Um, but it's fun. I think we're at one of the most exciting times in the history of crypto, or the history of XRP, certainly, because it's we're going to get to a make or break stage, and hopefully we make it. Um, I'm just getting some things from work there. Um, I'm a telecommuter, by the way. I'm doing my real job while I make these videos in most cases. But I think it's one of the most interesting times to be investing in crypto, and one of the best times. You know, there are people saying the market's dead. It's not. It's just not. You know, I'm old and I've been alive long enough. I can remember in the late '80s when they were telling me Apple was dead. You know, before the iPod came out, because the only people using Apple at the time were schools and a couple people that needed the RISC processing rather than the I mean for graphics, so they would use those Motorola processors to do their computer aided drafting and stuff like that. There wasn't, not everybody had an Apple. I mean, if you were only born in the last 10 or 20 years, you may not understand that, but you know, Apple wasn't a thing when I was growing up, other than the few apples you would play the Oregon Trail on in the schools. Uh, but yeah, and I've heard that you know the Apple was dead. We heard .coms were dead in the 2000s. You know, eBay was going away. All this online stuff was just you know uh, not. Netflix was going away. It was headed for downtown. Don't listen to that. I believe these blockchain technologies and cryptocurrencies, yeah, some might go away. Yeah, it's very possible that enough money will flush out of the market and the weaker projects are not going to stand on their own, but the coins with utility will remain um, and probably flourish. It's just people don't seem to like to wait for crypto returns. You know, a lot of us have jobs, like I said, I'm ignoring mine right now while I make this video, but as I said in an earlier video, people are happy to put 10% of their income away a couple times a month for a 6% return. Um, and that strategy only brings you to like a retirement or a big amount of money if you can work for a long time, 30 or 40 years with compound interest. So a lot of people are willing to do that, but they're not willing to wait for a bull cycle to hit in the crypto market of 2 to 3 years. And I don't understand the disconnect there or why one should flourish and it doesn't so much matter to them if the other one kind of stagnates or takes 40 years of working. Um, but so a more realistic approach is if you can dollar cost average into some cryptos that you like, that you've done your own research on, because I'm not a certified financial planner again. If you can dollar cost average in, and let's say maybe XRP never moons. Maybe you never get to buy a mansion in Malibu or something like that. Maybe it just sort of sunrises. Uh, Even if that's the case for you, if it results in you being able to, whatever your goal is, whether it's retiring a few years early, being halfway to that sports car that you want, the Lambo, or, um, it, if it helps you achieve your goals much faster than you otherwise would have, it's worth it. It's all worth it at that point. So, because time is the most valuable asset of all. And I'll leave you with that, and that'll be it for my video today. So remember, like and subscribe, share all my content. I never made this policy known before, but yeah, share anywhere. You don't even necessarily have to give me credit. I don't care because this is all just my opinion on the market, and I could be just as wrong or just as right as the next guy.